What if the key to wisdom lies not in what we say, but in what we choose not to say? In a world that often feels dominated by noise, endless chatter, social media updates, and the constant pressure to share our thoughts, there's a profound lesson to be learned from the Stoics. They believed that true power and clarity come not from speaking more, but from speaking with purpose. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you." These words remind us that not every thought needs to be voiced, and not every moment requires our commentary. The Stoics understood that silence isn't just the absence of words, it's a deliberate choice, a form of strength. In this video, we'll explore how Stoic principles can help us cut through the noise, speak less, and say more. We'll uncover why the art of purposeful speech is not just a philosophical idea, but a practical tool for living a more intentional and meaningful life. So, let's dive into the wisdom of the Stoics and discover how saying less can actually help us say what truly matters. For the Stoics, speech wasn't just a way to fill the silence or assert dominance, it was a tool for virtue. They believed that every word we utter should serve a purpose, whether to teach, to learn, or to connect meaningfully with others. Seneca, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, warned against the dangers of idle chatter. He saw it as a distraction, a way to waste not just time but also energy that could be better spent on cultivating wisdom and self-discipline. In his letters, he often reminded his readers that words should align with reason, not with the fleeting desire to impress or entertain. Think about it. How often do we speak simply to fill the air, to avoid awkwardness, or to prove a point? The Stoics would argue that this kind of speech is not just unnecessary, it's counterproductive. It pulls us away from our true goals and muddies the clarity of our thoughts. Instead, they encouraged a more deliberate approach to communication. Before speaking, they would ask themselves, is this necessary? Is it true? Is it kind? These questions act as a filter, helping us strip away the noise and focus on what truly matters. This doesn't mean the Stoics advocated for complete silence or isolation. On the contrary, they valued meaningful dialogue and the exchange of ideas. But they also recognized that not every thought needs to be shared, and not every conversation needs to happen. By choosing our words carefully, we not only preserve our energy but also ensure that when we do speak, our words carry weight. It's about quality over quantity, depth over volume. Imagine a world where everyone spoke with this level of intention. Conversations would become richer, more thoughtful, and far more impactful. And while we might not always achieve that ideal, the Stoic approach gives us a framework to strive for it. By aligning our speech with reason and virtue, we can transform the way we communicate, and in turn, the way we live. Silence for the Stoics was far more than the absence of sound. It was a virtue, a deliberate act of self-control, and a reflection of inner wisdom. Epictetus, one of the great Stoic teachers, often emphasized the power of listening over speaking. He believed that true understanding comes not from filling the air with our own words, but from opening ourselves to the words of others. In his discourses, he wrote, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." This simple yet profound observation highlights the Stoic commitment to humility and self-awareness. By prioritizing listening, we not only gain deeper insights but also avoid the pitfalls of hasty or thoughtless speech. In today's world, where conversations often feel like competitions to be heard, the Stoic approach to silence offers a refreshing alternative. Think about how many misunderstandings or conflicts arise simply because we're too quick to speak, too eager to defend our point of view, or too impatient to truly hear what someone else is saying. Silence in this context becomes a tool for clarity and connection. It allows us to pause, reflect, and respond with intention rather than react out of impulse. Consider a heated argument where emotions run high. The instinct might be to fire back to prove our case or to dominate the conversation. But what if instead we chose silence? Not as a sign of weakness, but as an act of strength. By stepping back and listening, we create space for understanding and de-escalation. This doesn't mean we avoid standing up for ourselves or expressing our thoughts. It means we do so with care and purpose, ensuring our words carry the weight they deserve. The Stoics also saw silence as a way to protect our inner peace. In a world filled with distractions and noise, silence becomes a refuge, a way to reconnect with ourselves and our values. It's a reminder that not every thought needs to be shared, and not every moment requires our commentary. By embracing silence, we cultivate a sense of calm and focus that allows us to navigate life's challenges with greater clarity and resilience. Modern parallels to this Stoic virtue are everywhere. In professional settings, for example, leaders who listen more than they speak often earn the respect and trust of their teams. In personal relationships, moments of silence can deepen bonds, allowing space for empathy and understanding to grow. Even in the digital age, where the pressure to constantly share and comment can feel overwhelming, choosing silence can be a radical act of self-care and mindfulness. The Stoics didn't see silence as a passive state, but as an active choice, one that requires discipline, awareness, and courage. It's a practice that challenges us to slow down, to resist the urge to fill every moment with noise, and to find meaning in the spaces between words. By valuing silence, we not only honor the wisdom of the Stoics, but also create opportunities for deeper connection, clearer thinking, and a more intentional way of living. The Stoics didn't just value silence for its own sake. They saw it as the foundation for something far more powerful, active listening. For them, listening wasn't a passive act. It was an intentional practice, a way to deepen understanding and foster genuine connection. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reflected on the importance of humility in learning from others. He wrote, "If anyone can refute me, show me I'm making a mistake or looking at things from the wrong perspective, I'll gladly change." It's the truth I'm after, and the truth never harmed anyone. This mindset reveals a profound truth. Listening isn't just about hearing words. It's about being open to growth, to new perspectives, and to the possibility that we might not have all the answers. Active listening, as the Stoics practiced it, requires more than just keeping quiet while someone else speaks. It's about fully engaging with what's being said, setting aside our own biases, and resisting the urge to interrupt or formulate a response before the other person has even finished. Think about the last time you had a conversation. Were you truly listening, or were you just waiting for your turn to speak? It's a question worth reflecting on, because in many ways, our ability to listen deeply shapes the quality of our relationships and our understanding of the world. The Stoics believed that listening was a form of respect, not just for the person speaking, but for the truth itself. By giving others the space to express themselves, we create an environment where ideas can flourish and misunderstandings can be resolved. This is especially important in moments of conflict or disagreement. Instead of reacting defensively or trying to win the argument, the Stoic approach encourages us to pause, listen, and seek common ground. It's not about surrendering our own views, but about recognizing that wisdom often comes from dialogue, not domination. In our fast-paced, hyper-connected world, the art of listening has become something of a lost skill. We're so accustomed to multitasking, to scrolling through notifications while half listening to a conversation, that we've forgotten how powerful it can be to give someone our full attention. The Stoics would argue that this kind of distracted listening not only diminishes our ability to connect with others, but also robs us of the opportunity to learn and grow. When we truly listen, we open ourselves to new ideas, to empathy, and to the kind of understanding that can only come from being fully present. So, how can we practice active listening in our own lives? Start by setting aside distractions. Put away your phone, close your laptop, and focus entirely on the person in front of you. Resist the urge to interrupt or jump in with your own thoughts. Instead, ask clarifying questions to deepen your understanding. And most importantly, approach every conversation with humility, recognizing that you might not have all the answers, and that's okay. The Stoics remind us that wisdom isn't about having all the right words, it's about being open to the words of others. By embracing the Stoic practice of active listening, we not only enrich our own lives but also create space for deeper, more meaningful connections. It's a reminder that sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is simply listen, not to respond, but to understand. And in doing so, we honor the Stoic ideal of living with purpose, humility, and a commitment to the truth. The Stoics didn't just advocate for speaking less, they emphasized speaking well. For them, every word was an opportunity to reflect their values, to align their speech with reason, and to contribute something meaningful to the world. Seneca, in particular, was a strong proponent of this idea. He warned against the dangers of impulsive speech, urging his readers to think before they spoke. In one of his letters, he wrote, "Speech is the mirror of the soul. As a man speaks, so he is." This simple yet profound statement reminds us that our words are more than just sounds. They're a reflection of who we are and what we stand for. But what does it mean to speak with intention? It's not just about choosing the right words, it's about ensuring that those words align with our deepest values and principles. The Stoics believed that every conversation, no matter how small, was an opportunity to practice virtue. Whether we're discussing the weather or debating a complex issue, our words should serve a purpose: to teach, to learn, to connect, or to inspire. This doesn't mean every sentence has to be profound, but it does mean we should avoid speaking simply out of habit or impulse. Imagine you're in the middle of a heated argument. Emotions are running high, and the urge to lash out or defend yourself is strong. In that moment, the Stoic approach would be to pause, not to suppress your feelings, but to give yourself the space to respond with intention. By taking a breath and reflecting on your values, you can choose words that de-escalate rather than inflame, that build bridges rather than walls. This small act of restraint isn't just about avoiding conflict, it's about staying true to who you are, even in the face of adversity. Seneca often compared speech to a weapon, one that can either harm or heal depending on how it's used. He believed that impulsive words spoken without thought could cause lasting damage not just to others but to ourselves. When we speak rashly, we risk undermining our integrity and losing the respect of those around us. But when we speak with intention, we demonstrate self-control, wisdom, and respect for both ourselves and others. This principle isn't just relevant in moments of conflict, it applies to everyday conversations as well. Think about how often we speak without really thinking, filling silences with small talk, agreeing with others just to avoid disagreement, or sharing opinions we haven't fully considered. The Stoics would challenge us to ask ourselves, are these words necessary? Do they reflect my values? Are they contributing something meaningful? By asking these questions, we can begin to strip away the noise and focus on what truly matters. Speaking with intention isn't about perfection, it's about practice. It's about becoming more aware of the power of our words and using that power wisely. It's about recognizing that every conversation is an opportunity to live in alignment with our values, to build deeper connections, and to create a more thoughtful, compassionate world. And while it may not always be easy, the Stoics remind us that it's always worth the effort. After all, the words we choose don't just shape our conversations, they shape who we are. The Stoics had little patience for gossip, not because they were above it, but because they saw it as a corrosive force, one that distracts us from virtue and undermines our ability to live with purpose. Epictetus, in particular, was vocal about the dangers of idle talk. He warned that spreading rumors or engaging in petty chatter wasn't just a waste of time, it was a betrayal of our higher selves. If you hear that someone is speaking ill of you, he advised, don't try to defend yourself against the rumors. Instead, reply, he obviously doesn't know me very well, since there are so many other faults he could have mentioned. This sharp wit wasn't just about deflecting criticism, it was a reminder that gossip says more about the speaker than the subject. By refusing to engage, we protect our integrity and focus on what truly matters. In today's world, gossip has taken on new forms, but its impact remains just as damaging. Think about the workplace, for example. How often do conversations veer into speculation about a colleague's personal life or performance? These moments might seem harmless, but they erode trust, create division, and distract from the shared goals that should unite us. The Stoics would argue that every minute spent spreading or listening to gossip is a minute lost to self-improvement and meaningful connection. It's not just a waste of time, it's a missed opportunity to live with intention. Social media amplifies this problem, turning gossip into a global pastime. Platforms thrive on sensationalism, encouraging us to share, comment, and react without fully considering the consequences. A single post or tweet can spiral into a storm of speculation, judgment, and misinformation, leaving little room for nuance or understanding. The Stoics would see this as the ultimate distraction, a way to lose ourselves in the noise rather than focusing on what's real and meaningful. By indulging in gossip, whether online or offline, we sacrifice our peace of mind and our ability to live authentically. But why is gossip so tempting? The Stoics would point to our desire for connection and validation. Sharing a juicy piece of news can make us feel included, even powerful in the moment. Yet, this fleeting sense of belonging comes at a cost. Gossip feeds on negativity, pulling us away from the virtues of kindness, honesty, and self-discipline. It's a trap that keeps us tethered to the superficial, preventing us from cultivating the deeper, more fulfilling relationships that come from mutual respect and understanding. So how do we break free from this cycle? The Stoic approach is simple but challenging. Choose silence over speculation and curiosity over judgment. When you hear a rumor, ask yourself, does this serve any purpose? Does it align with my values? If the answer is no, let it go. Redirect your energy toward conversations that uplift and inspire rather than those that tear down or distract. By doing so, you not only protect your own peace of mind, but also set an example for others to follow. In a world that often rewards sensationalism and drama, the Stoic rejection of gossip is a radical act of self-respect. It's a reminder that our words and our silence have power. By choosing to rise above the noise, we reclaim our ability to live with clarity, purpose, and virtue. And in doing so, we create a space where meaningful connections can thrive, free from the distractions of idle talk. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, often turned his gaze inward, reflecting on the fleeting nature of life and the importance of using our time wisely. In his meditations, he wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This stark reminder of life's brevity wasn't meant to instill fear, but to inspire clarity. If our time is limited, shouldn't every word we speak carry weight? Shouldn't we strive to make each conversation meaningful rather than filling the air with noise? Aurelius saw unnecessary speech as a distraction, a way to squander the precious moments we're given. He believed that much of what we say, whether it's idle chatter, complaints, or gossip, does little to serve our growth or the growth of others. Instead, it pulls us away from what truly matters, living with purpose, cultivating virtue, and contributing to the well-being of those around us. His writings challenge us to ask ourselves, how much of what I say actually adds value? How often do I speak simply out of habit rather than intention? This isn't about silencing ourselves or avoiding conversation altogether. It's about recognizing the power of our words and using them wisely. Aurelius understood that every word we utter is a reflection of our character and our priorities. When we speak without thought, we risk not only wasting our own time but also diminishing our integrity. But when we choose our words carefully, we align our speech with our values, creating opportunities for connection, understanding, and growth. Consider this: in a single day, how many of your words are truly necessary? How many are spoken out of obligation, habit, or the desire to fill silence? The Stoics would argue that by cutting through this noise, we can focus on what's essential, on conversations that inspire, teach, or deepen our relationships. It's not about speaking less for the sake of it, but about speaking with purpose, ensuring that our words reflect the life we want to lead. Aurelius' reflections invite us to pause and reflect on our own patterns of speech. Are we using our words to build bridges or to create barriers? Are we contributing to the growth of others, or are we simply adding to the noise? These questions aren't meant to judge, but to guide. They remind us that every word is a choice, and every choice shapes the kind of person we become. So, the next time you find yourself about to speak, take a moment to consider, is this necessary? Is it true? Is it kind? By asking these questions, we honor the wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and the Stoic tradition, transforming our speech into a tool for growth, connection, and purpose. In a world that often values volume over meaning, this simple practice can help us reclaim the power of our words and, in turn, the power of our lives. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher who turned adversity into wisdom, had a unique perspective on self-control, one that extended far beyond physical actions and into the realm of speech. He saw the tongue not just as a means of communication, but as a powerful tool that, if left unchecked, could cause harm or create chaos. In his teachings, he often compared speech to a sharp blade. The faculty of speech is like a sword, he said. If you wield it carelessly, you can cut yourself or others, but if you handle it with skill and intention, it becomes an instrument of clarity and connection. This analogy captures the essence of Stoic discipline, recognizing that every word we speak is a choice, and every choice reflects our inner state. For Epictetus, controlling one's tongue wasn't just about avoiding conflict or saying the right thing. It was a direct reflection of self-mastery. He believed that our ability to govern our speech was a measure of our inner discipline. Think about it. How often do we say something in the heat of the moment, only to regret it later? These moments of impulsiveness reveal a lack of control, a gap between our emotions and our actions. Epictetus would argue that by practicing restraint in our speech, we train ourselves to respond rather than react, to act from reason rather than impulse. It's not about suppressing our thoughts or feelings, but about channeling them with purpose and care. So, how can we apply this wisdom in our daily lives? One practical tip inspired by Epictetus is to set a daily intention to speak less and listen more. This doesn't mean silencing yourself or avoiding conversation. It's about shifting the balance. Start your day by reminding yourself, today I will choose my words carefully. I will listen more than I speak. This simple practice creates a mental filter, helping you pause before you speak and consider whether your words are necessary, true, and kind. Over time, this habit can transform not just how you communicate, but how you think and feel. It's a small step toward greater self-awareness and inner peace. Epictetus also emphasized the importance of aligning our speech with our values. He believed that every word we utter should serve a purpose, whether to teach, to learn, or to connect meaningfully with others. This means letting go of the need to fill every silence to prove a point or to win an argument. Instead, it's about speaking with intention, ensuring that our words reflect who we are and what we stand for. Imagine the impact this could have on your relationships, your work, and even your sense of self. When we speak with purpose, we not only honor the wisdom of the Stoics, but also create a life that's more aligned with our deepest values. The beauty of Epictetus' teachings lies in their simplicity and practicality. They remind us that self-control isn't about grand gestures or dramatic changes. It's about the small, consistent choices we make every day. By focusing on how we use our words, we cultivate a deeper sense of discipline and integrity. And in doing so, we not only improve our own lives, but also contribute to a world where communication is more thoughtful, more meaningful, and more aligned with the virtues of wisdom and kindness. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher known for his sharp wit and profound insights, had a particular disdain for unnecessary words. He believed that brevity wasn't just a stylistic choice, it was a mark of wisdom. In one of his letters, he wrote, "The more you say, the less people remember. The fewer the words, the greater the impact." This idea might seem counterintuitive in a world that often equates length with importance, but Seneca saw it differently. For him, concise speech was a way to cut through the noise, to deliver ideas with clarity and precision. It wasn't about saying less for the sake of it, it was about saying only what truly mattered. Think about how often we're bombarded with information, long emails, rambling presentations, endless meetings. How much of it sticks? How often do we walk away feeling more confused than enlightened? Seneca would argue that this is the result of a fundamental misunderstanding, the belief that more words equal more meaning. In reality, the opposite is often true. When we strip away the excess, when we focus on the essence of our message, we create space for understanding and connection. It's not about dumbing things down, it's about distilling them to their most potent form. This principle is especially relevant in our modern world, where attention spans are short and distractions are everywhere. Take email communication, for example. How many times have you received a long, convoluted message and found yourself skimming through it, trying to find the key points? Now imagine if that same email had been concise, with each sentence serving a clear purpose. The impact would be immediate. The same applies to presentations or public speaking. A well-crafted, succinct message not only holds the audience's attention, but also leaves a lasting impression. Seneca's advice reminds us that clarity is a gift to ourselves and to others. But brevity isn't just about efficiency, it's also about respect. When we speak or write concisely, we show consideration for the time and attention of those we're communicating with. We acknowledge that their time is valuable, and we strive to make every word count. This is a deeply Stoic idea, one that aligns with the broader principle of living with intention and purpose. By choosing our words carefully, we demonstrate self-discipline and thoughtfulness, qualities that reflect our commitment to virtue. So, how can we apply Seneca's wisdom in our own lives? Start by asking yourself, what is the core message I want to convey? What can I remove without losing meaning? Whether you're drafting an email, preparing a presentation, or having a conversation, aim to be clear and concise. Cut out the fluff, the filler, the unnecessary details. Focus on what's essential and trust that your message will resonate more deeply when it's delivered with precision. Seneca's emphasis on brevity isn't just a lesson in communication, it's a lesson in living. It challenges us to be intentional in how we express ourselves, to value quality over quantity, and to recognize the power of simplicity. In a world that often feels overwhelmed by words, his advice offers a refreshing alternative: say less but say it well. And in doing so, we not only honor the wisdom of the Stoics, but also create space for deeper understanding, stronger connections, and a more meaningful way of engaging with the world. The Stoics placed reason at the heart of everything: thoughts, actions, and especially speech. For them, communication wasn't just about exchanging ideas, it was an extension of their commitment to living a virtuous life. Epictetus, the Stoic teacher who turned philosophy into practical wisdom, put it plainly: first learn the meaning of what you say and then speak. This simple yet profound statement captures the essence of Stoic communication. Every word should be rooted in reason, aligned with virtue, and free from the distortions of unchecked emotion. But what does it mean to let reason guide our speech? It's not about suppressing emotions or pretending they don't exist. The Stoics understood that emotions are a natural part of being human. What they cautioned against was allowing those emotions to hijack our words, leading us to say things we might later regret. Instead, they encouraged us to pause, reflect, and ask ourselves, is this response driven by reason, or am I reacting out of anger, fear, or frustration? This moment of reflection, however brief, can be the difference between a thoughtful reply and a regrettable outburst. Consider a situation where you're faced with criticism or conflict. The immediate reaction might be to defend yourself, to lash out, or to prove your point, but the Stoic approach invites us to step back. Before speaking, we can ask, what is the most reasonable response here? How can my words reflect my values rather than my emotions? This isn't about denying how we feel, it's about choosing how we express those feelings in a way that serves both ourselves and others. By aligning our speech with reason, we not only maintain our integrity, but also create space for resolution and understanding. Epictetus also believed that reason in speech was a form of respect, not just for others, but for ourselves. When we speak impulsively, we risk undermining our own dignity and the respect others have for us. But when we speak with intention, guided by logic and virtue, we demonstrate self-control and wisdom. It's a way of showing that we value the truth over the temporary satisfaction of winning an argument or venting our frustrations. This principle extends beyond moments of conflict. Even in everyday conversations, the Stoics would urge us to consider whether our words are serving a purpose. Are we speaking to connect, to learn, or to contribute something meaningful? Or are we simply filling the silence, seeking attention, or indulging in idle chatter? By bringing reason into our speech, we transform it from a passive habit into an active practice, one that reflects our commitment to living thoughtfully and intentionally. So, the next time you find yourself in a challenging conversation, take a moment to reflect, are my words driven by emotion or reason? This small act of self-awareness can have a profound impact, not just on the conversation at hand, but on the way you navigate relationships and challenges in your life. The Stoics remind us that speech, when guided by reason, becomes more than just communication. It becomes a tool for growth, connection, and living a life of purpose. The Stoics didn't just preach about the importance of mindful speech, they gave us practical tools to put it into action. One of the most powerful exercises they practiced was journaling, not just as a way to record thoughts, but as a way to refine them. Marcus Aurelius, for example, used his journal, what we now know as meditations, to reflect on his actions, his words, and his intentions. He didn't write to impress others. He wrote to hold himself accountable, to ensure that his speech and actions aligned with his values. This practice of self-reflection can be a game changer for anyone looking to speak with more purpose. Before entering a conversation, take a moment to jot down your thoughts. Ask yourself, what do I hope to achieve? What values do I want to embody? This simple act of preparation can help you approach the conversation with clarity and intention rather than impulsiveness. Another Stoic exercise is to pause and ask, is this necessary before speaking? This question, rooted in the teachings of Epictetus, acts as a mental filter, helping you strip away the noise and focus on what truly matters. It's not about silencing yourself, but about ensuring that your words serve a purpose, whether to teach, to learn, or to connect meaningfully. Imagine applying this question throughout your day. Before responding to a text, before chiming in during a meeting, or even before venting to a friend, take a breath and ask, is this necessary? Over time, this habit can transform the way you communicate, helping you cut through the clutter and focus on what's truly important. Marcus Aurelius also emphasized the importance of reflecting on the purpose of a conversation before engaging in it. He believed that every interaction should serve a higher goal, whether to build understanding, to share wisdom, or to strengthen relationships. This doesn't mean every conversation has to be profound, but it does mean we should approach them with intention. Before speaking, consider, what is the purpose of this exchange? Am I contributing something meaningful, or am I simply filling the silence? By aligning your speech with a clear purpose, you not only make your words more impactful, but also deepen your connection with others. These practices might seem simple, but their impact can be profound. They remind us that speech isn't just a reflex, it's a choice, one that reflects our values and shapes our relationships. By incorporating these Stoic exercises into your daily life, you can cultivate a habit of mindful speech, one that honors the wisdom of the Stoics and enriches your interactions with others. It's not about perfection, but about progress, about becoming more aware of the power of your words and using that power wisely. And in doing so, you'll find that speaking less doesn't mean saying less, it means saying more of what truly matters. The Stoics understood that words are far more than just sounds, they're tools that can shape the world around us. Seneca, in particular, emphasized the profound responsibility that comes with speech. He believed that every word we utter has the potential to either uplift or harm, to build bridges or burn them. In one of his letters, he wrote, "Speech is the mirror of the soul. As a man speaks, so he is." This idea reminds us that our words are a reflection of our character, and they carry weight far beyond the moment they're spoken. For the Stoics, this wasn't just a philosophical observation, it was a call to action. They urged us to consider the impact of our words on others, to recognize that what we say can either nurture growth or sow discord. Think about the last time someone's words left a lasting impression on you. Maybe it was a compliment that boosted your confidence, or a piece of advice that changed your perspective. On the flip side, perhaps you've experienced the sting of a harsh comment or the frustration of being misunderstood. These moments highlight the power of language, not just to convey information, but to shape emotions, relationships, and even lives. The Stoics would argue that this power comes with a responsibility to use our words wisely, to ensure they align with our values, and to consider how they might affect those who hear them. Seneca often warned against the dangers of careless speech, particularly in moments of anger or frustration. He saw these emotions as a kind of fire, one that could easily spread and cause harm if not controlled. Anger, he wrote, is like a flame that burns everything in its path, and the tongue is its most dangerous weapon. This vivid metaphor underscores the Stoic belief that words spoken in haste can have lasting consequences. But it also points to the flip side. When we speak with care and intention, our words can heal, inspire, and connect. In today's world, this principle is more relevant than ever. Consider the impact of a simple, genuine compliment. A few kind words can brighten someone's day, strengthen a relationship, or even change the course of a conversation. On a larger scale, think about how leaders, teachers, or mentors use their words to motivate and guide others. Their ability to communicate with clarity and compassion often determines their effectiveness. The Stoics would see this as a perfect example of speech aligned with virtue, words that serve a purpose, that uplift rather than tear down. but it's not just about grand gestures or public speeches. Even in our everyday interactions, the way we speak matters. A thoughtful question can show someone they're valued. A word of encouragement can give them the strength to keep going. And sometimes silence, choosing not to speak, can be just as powerful, allowing space for understanding and empathy to grow. The Stoics remind us that every conversation is an opportunity to practice kindness, to build trust, and to contribute to the well-being of those around us. So, the next time you're about to speak, take a moment to consider the impact your words might have. Are they rooted in kindness and respect? Are they serving a purpose, or are they simply filling the silence? By aligning our speech with the Stoic principles of reason and virtue, we not only honor the wisdom of the ancients, but also create a world where our words become a force for good, one conversation at a time. Social media has become a modern battleground of words, a place where opinions clash, debates rage, and emotions often run high. For the Stoics, this digital landscape would have been both fascinating and cautionary. They believed that every word we speak, or in this case type, should serve a purpose, aligning with reason and virtue. But how often do we pause to consider whether our online interactions reflect these principles? The Stoics would challenge us to ask, does your online presence reflect your values and purpose? This question isn't meant to shame or judge. It's an invitation to reflect on how we use our digital voices. One of the most common pitfalls of social media is the temptation to engage in unnecessary debates. It's easy to get drawn into arguments, especially when emotions are high and the stakes feel personal. But the Stoics would remind us that not every opinion needs to be challenged, and not every comment requires a response. Epictetus once said, "If anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said, but answer, 'He was ignorant of my other faults, else he would not have mentioned these alone.'" This advice is particularly relevant online, where criticism and negativity can feel amplified. Instead of reacting defensively or engaging in fruitless debates, the Stoic approach encourages us to step back, reflect, and choose our battles wisely. Another challenge of social media is the pressure to constantly share, comment, and react. The Stoics would see this as a form of distraction, pulling us away from what truly matters. Seneca warned against the dangers of idle chatter, and in the digital age, this warning extends to the endless scroll of updates, memes, and hot takes. Every time we post or comment, we're making a choice about how to spend our energy and attention. Are we contributing something meaningful, or are we simply adding to the noise? By applying Stoic principles, we can approach social media with greater intention, using it as a tool for connection and growth rather than a source of distraction or conflict. So, how can we bring Stoic wisdom into our online lives? Start by setting boundaries. Before posting or commenting, ask yourself, is this necessary? Is it true? Is it kind? These simple questions can act as a filter, helping you avoid impulsive or inflammatory remarks. Next, consider the purpose of your online presence. Are you using social media to share ideas, to learn, or to connect with others in a meaningful way? Or are you simply seeking validation or venting frustrations? By aligning your digital interactions with your values, you can create a more intentional and fulfilling online experience. The Stoics also remind us of the importance of humility and self-awareness. In a world where everyone has a platform, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking we have all the answers. But true wisdom lies in recognizing the limits of our knowledge and being open to learning from others. This doesn't mean staying silent. It means speaking with humility, listening with curiosity, and engaging in conversations that foster understanding rather than division. Ultimately, the Stoic approach to social media isn't about disengaging or avoiding conflict altogether. It's about engaging thoughtfully with purpose and integrity. By bringing mindfulness to our online interactions, we can transform social media from a source of stress and distraction into a space for meaningful connection and growth. And in doing so, we honor the timeless wisdom of the Stoics, proving that even in the digital age, the art of saying less can help us say what truly matters. The Stoics saw patience not just as a virtue, but as a shield, one that protected both the speaker and the listener from the fallout of hasty words. Epictetus, the philosopher who turned adversity into wisdom, often emphasized the importance of timing in speech. He believed that waiting for the right moment to speak wasn't just a matter of etiquette. It was a form of self-discipline, a way to ensure that our words aligned with reason rather than impulse. "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters," he famously said. This idea applies powerfully to communication. When we pause before speaking, we give ourselves the space to respond thoughtfully, rather than reacting out of anger, frustration, or fear. Imagine you're in a heated argument, emotions are running high, and the urge to lash out or defend yourself feels almost irresistible. In that moment, the Stoic approach would be to take a breath or even count to 10 before responding. This small act of patience isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about giving yourself the chance to choose your words carefully. By waiting, you create a buffer between your emotions and your actions, allowing reason to guide your response. This simple practice can transform a potentially destructive exchange into an opportunity for understanding and resolution. Epictetus also taught that patience in speech is a form of respect, not just for others but for ourselves. When we speak impulsively, we risk undermining our own dignity and the respect others have for us. But when we take the time to reflect before speaking, we demonstrate self-control and wisdom. It's a way of showing that we value the truth over the temporary satisfaction of winning an argument or venting our frustrations. This principle is especially relevant in moments of conflict where the stakes feel high and the temptation to react is strongest. By practicing patience, we not only protect our relationships but also stay true to our values. But patience in speech isn't just about avoiding conflict. It's also about creating space for meaningful connection. Think about how often we interrupt others, eager to share our own thoughts before they've even finished speaking. The Stoics would challenge us to resist this impulse, to listen fully and wait for the right moment to contribute. This kind of patience fosters deeper understanding and respect, allowing conversations to unfold naturally rather than being driven by ego or haste. It's a reminder that sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is simply wait. So, how can we cultivate this virtue in our own lives? Start by setting a simple intention. Before speaking, take a moment to pause. Whether you're in a heated debate or a casual conversation, give yourself the space to reflect. Ask yourself, is this the right moment to speak? Are my words necessary, true, and kind? Over time, this small habit can transform the way you communicate, helping you navigate even the most challenging conversations with grace and intention. The Stoics remind us that patience in speech isn't just about restraint, it's about creating opportunities for clarity, connection, and growth. By waiting for the right moment to speak, we honor the wisdom of the ancients and bring a deeper sense of purpose to our words. And in doing so, we not only improve our own lives, but also contribute to a world where communication is more thoughtful, more meaningful, and more aligned with the virtues of wisdom and kindness. Public speaking can be one of the most daunting challenges we face, whether it's addressing a large audience or simply sharing an idea in a meeting. For the Stoics, however, the act of speaking in public wasn't about performance or ego, it was about service. Seneca, one of the most eloquent Stoic philosophers, believed that the purpose of speech was to convey truth, not to impress or dominate. He wrote, "Speech is the mirror of the soul. As a man speaks, so he is." This idea reminds us that our words should reflect our character and values, not our desire for approval or applause. When we step onto a stage or into a spotlight, the Stoics would urge us to ask, am I speaking to serve or to be seen? Seneca's advice on public speaking was rooted in humility. He warned against the temptation to inflate our words with grandiosity or to use them as a tool for self-promotion. Instead, he encouraged speakers to focus on clarity and authenticity. Say what you mean and mean what you say, he might have advised. This doesn't mean stripping your speech of passion or energy. It means ensuring that every word serves a purpose, that your message is clear, and that your intent is genuine. For the Stoics, the most powerful speeches weren't the ones filled with clever rhetoric or dramatic flair. They were the ones that resonated with truth and sincerity. So, how can we apply this Stoic wisdom to modern public speaking? Start by preparing with purpose. Before crafting your speech, ask yourself, what is the core message I want to convey? How can I deliver it in a way that's both clear and meaningful? This process of reflection helps you strip away the unnecessary, focusing on what truly matters. It's not about memorizing every word or perfecting your delivery. It's about connecting with your audience in a way that feels authentic and grounded. Another key Stoic principle is to let go of the need for external validation. It's natural to feel nervous before speaking in public, but the Stoics would remind us that our worth isn't determined by the applause we receive or the opinions of others. Instead of worrying about how you'll be perceived, focus on the value you're offering. Are you sharing something that could inspire, educate, or uplift? Are you speaking from a place of integrity and care? When you shift your mindset from seeking approval to serving others, the pressure to perform fades and your confidence grows. In today's world, where public speaking often feels like a competition for attention, the Stoic approach offers a refreshing alternative. It's not about being the loudest or the most charismatic, it's about being the most genuine. Whether you're giving a TED talk, presenting at work, or even speaking up in a group discussion, the principles remain the same. Speak with humility, clarity, and purpose. By aligning your words with your values, you not only become a more effective communicator, but also a more authentic one. The Stoics remind us that public speaking isn't just about the words we say, it's about the intention behind them. When we approach it with humility and a desire to serve, we transform it from a source of anxiety into an opportunity for connection and growth. And in doing so, we honor the timeless wisdom of the Stoics, proving that the most powerful speeches aren't the ones that dazzle, but the ones that truly matter. The Stoics saw a profound link between the words we speak and the peace we feel within. For them, speech wasn't just an outward expression, it was a reflection of our inner world, a mirror of our thoughts and emotions. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reflected on this connection, writing, "Your mind will take the shape of what you frequently hold in thought, for the human spirit is colored by such impressions." In other words, the way we speak, whether hurried, harsh, or thoughtful, reveals the state of our inner life. When our words are chaotic or impulsive, it's often a sign that our thoughts are scattered or unsettled. But when we speak with clarity and intention, it's a reflection of a mind at peace. This idea might seem simple, but its implications are profound. Think about the last time you felt truly calm and centered. Chances are your speech reflected that state, measured, deliberate, and kind. Now recall a moment of stress or frustration. Did your words become sharper, quicker, or less thoughtful? The Stoics believed that by becoming more aware of how we speak, we can gain insight into our inner state and, in turn, cultivate greater tranquility. It's a two-way street. Just as our speech reflects our thoughts, the way we choose to speak can also shape them. By practicing mindful speech, we create a feedback loop that reinforces inner peace. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself to let your speech be guided by reason, not by emotion. This wasn't about suppressing feelings, but about ensuring that our words align with our values rather than our impulses. When we speak rashly, we not only risk harming others but also disrupt our own sense of calm. Every harsh word or thoughtless comment can leave us feeling agitated, regretful, or out of sync with ourselves. But when we pause, reflect, and choose our words carefully, we protect not only our relationships but also our inner harmony. It's a practice that requires discipline, but the rewards, both for ourselves and those around us, are immeasurable. So how can we use this Stoic insight in our daily lives? Start by paying attention to the tone and pace of your speech. Are your words rushed or measured? Are they tinged with frustration, or do they carry a sense of calm? These subtle cues can reveal a lot about your inner state. Next, try to align your speech with your values. Before speaking, ask yourself, are these words true? Are they kind? Do they serve a purpose? This simple act of reflection can help you bridge the gap between your thoughts and your words, creating a sense of harmony that extends far beyond the conversation. The Stoics remind us that speech is more than just communication, it's a tool for cultivating inner peace. By becoming more intentional with our words, we not only improve our relationships but also create a deeper sense of calm within ourselves. So, the next time you find yourself about to speak, take a moment to reflect. How does my speech reflect my inner state? This small act of awareness can be the first step toward a more tranquil, purposeful way of living. Cato the Younger, one of the most steadfast Stoic figures in Roman history, was known not just for his unwavering principles, but for his remarkable restraint in speech. In the heated political debates of his time, where rhetoric often became a weapon, Cato chose his words with precision and purpose. He understood that speaking less didn't mean being silent, it meant ensuring that every word carried weight. When others would shout to dominate the conversation, Cato would wait, listen, and respond only when necessary. His speeches were concise, his arguments clear, and his integrity undeniable. This wasn't just a political strategy, it was a reflection of his Stoic commitment to virtue. Cato's restraint in speech wasn't about avoiding conflict, it was about rising above it, using reason and clarity to cut through the noise. This ancient example finds striking parallels in modern leaders who embody similar principles. Consider the calm, measured communication of figures like Nelson Mandela or Jacinda Ardern. Mandela, during his presidency, often chose silence over confrontation, allowing his actions to speak louder than words. Ardern, known for her empathetic yet decisive leadership, has consistently demonstrated the power of speaking with clarity and compassion, even in moments of crisis. These leaders, like Cato, show us that purposeful speech isn't about volume or dominance. It's about integrity, intention, and the ability to connect deeply with others. The Stoics would argue that this kind of communication isn't reserved for politicians or public figures, it's a skill we can all cultivate. Think about the last time you were in a disagreement. Did you feel the urge to interrupt, to prove your point, or to win the argument? Cato's example reminds us that true strength lies in restraint. By pausing, listening, and responding with intention, we not only resolve conflicts more effectively, but also earn the respect of those around us. It's a lesson that transcends time, proving that the art of purposeful speech is as relevant today as it was in ancient Rome. But what does this look like in practice? Imagine you're in a meeting where tensions are high. Instead of jumping in with your own perspective, take a moment to truly listen. When you do speak, focus on clarity and brevity, ensuring your words align with your values and the goals of the conversation. This approach doesn't just make you a better communicator, it helps create an environment where everyone feels heard and respected. It's a small shift, but one that can have a profound impact on your relationships and your sense of self. The Stoics remind us that speech is a reflection of character. whether it's Cato's restraint in the Roman Senate or a modern leader's ability to inspire through clarity and compassion. These examples show us that purposeful speech is a powerful tool for living with integrity. By learning from their example, we can transform the way we communicate, not just to be heard, but to truly connect. And in doing so, we honor the timeless wisdom of the Stoics, proving that the art of saying less can help us say what truly matters. Silence in the hands of the Stoics wasn't just a passive absence of words, it was a deliberate strategy, especially when it came to resolving conflicts. Epictetus, the philosopher who turned adversity into wisdom, often emphasized the power of silence in moments of tension. He believed that not every argument was worth engaging in, and not every provocation deserved a response. If someone tries to draw you into an argument, he advised, remember that it's not the words themselves that upset you, but your judgment of them. This insight is profound because it shifts the focus from the external conflict to our internal reaction. By choosing silence, we reclaim control over our emotions and avoid being pulled into unproductive battles. Imagine you're in a heated discussion and the other person is raising their voice, making personal attacks, or refusing to listen. The instinct might be to fire back, to defend yourself, or to prove your point. But what if instead you chose silence, not as a sign of defeat, but as an act of strength? By refusing to engage in the heat of the moment, you create space for clarity and de-escalation. This doesn't mean you're avoiding the issue, it means you're addressing it on your own terms, when emotions have settled and reason can prevail. The Stoics understood that silence in these moments is a form of self-respect. It's a way of saying, I won't let this conflict define me or dictate my actions. Epictetus also taught that silence could be a tool for exposing the futility of unnecessary arguments. He often reminded his students that some debates are simply not worth the energy. If someone insists that 2 + 2 = 5, he might say, let them. Your silence will speak louder than any correction. This approach isn't about conceding or giving up, it's about recognizing when a conversation has become unproductive and choosing to walk away. By refusing to engage in fruitless debates, we preserve our energy for more meaningful pursuits and protect our inner peace. Consider a practical example. You're at a family gathering, and a relative starts a political argument, determined to provoke a reaction. Instead of rising to the bait, you take a deep breath, offer a calm response, and then choose silence. By not escalating the situation, you not only diffuse the tension but also set an example of restraint and maturity. This small act of Stoic wisdom can transform a potentially explosive moment into an opportunity for reflection and growth. The Stoics remind us that silence isn't about avoiding conflict, it's about navigating it with intention and integrity. By choosing when to speak and when to remain silent, we demonstrate self-control and wisdom. It's a practice that requires discipline, but the rewards are profound: stronger relationships, clearer thinking, and a deeper sense of inner peace. So, the next time you find yourself in a heated argument, remember the Stoic approach. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. The Stoics saw words as more than just tools for communication. They were a mirror of one's character, a direct reflection of who we are and what we stand for. Seneca, one of the most eloquent voices of Stoicism, often emphasized this connection. He believed that our speech should align seamlessly with our actions, creating a harmony between what we say and what we do. In one of his letters, he wrote, "Speech is the mirror of the soul. As a man speaks, so he is." This simple yet profound statement reminds us that every word we utter reveals something about our inner world, our values, and our integrity. For the Stoics, this wasn't just a philosophical idea, it was a call to live with consistency and authenticity. Think about it. How often do we say one thing and do another? How often do our words fail to match our actions, leaving a gap between who we claim to be and who we truly are? Seneca warned against this disconnect, seeing it as a betrayal of our higher selves. He believed that when our speech and actions are out of sync, we not only undermine our credibility but also erode our sense of self-respect. The Stoics would argue that true virtue lies in aligning what we say with what we do, ensuring that our words are a true reflection of our character. This principle is especially relevant in moments of challenge or conflict. Imagine you're faced with a difficult situation, perhaps a disagreement at work or a personal conflict. The easy path might be to say what others want to hear, to smooth things over with words that don't truly reflect your feelings or beliefs. But the Stoic approach would challenge you to stay true to your values even when it's uncomfortable. By aligning your speech with your actions, you demonstrate integrity and build trust both with others and with yourself. So, how can we put this into practice? Start by asking yourself a simple but powerful question. Do my words consistently reflect my values? This reflective exercise can serve as a daily checkpoint, helping you stay mindful of the connection between what you say and who you are. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. By becoming more aware of this alignment, you can begin to close the gap between your words and your actions, creating a life that's more authentic and purposeful. Seneca also believed that this alignment wasn't just about avoiding hypocrisy. It was about creating a life of meaning and impact. When our words and actions are in harmony, we become more trustworthy, more reliable, and more effective in our relationships and endeavors. It's a way of living that not only honors the wisdom of the Stoics, but also enriches our own lives and the lives of those around us. The Stoics remind us that words are powerful, but they're only as meaningful as the actions that follow them. By striving to align our speech with our values, we not only strengthen our character but also create a life that's more intentional, more authentic, and more aligned with the virtues of wisdom and integrity. So the next time you speak, take a moment to reflect. Do these words truly reflect who I am and what I stand for? This small act of mindfulness can be the first step toward a more purposeful way of living. The principles of Stoic speech aren't just ancient wisdom, they're incredibly relevant in our modern lives, especially in the way we navigate everyday conversations. Take family dynamics, for example. How often do we find ourselves in heated discussions with loved ones, where emotions run high and words are spoken without thought? The Stoic approach would encourage us to pause and ask, are these words necessary? Are they kind? By bringing this level of intention to our interactions, we can transform even the most challenging moments into opportunities for connection and understanding. Instead of reacting impulsively, we can choose to respond with clarity and compassion, creating a space where everyone feels heard and valued. In professional settings, the Stoic emphasis on purposeful speech can be equally transformative. Think about a typical work meeting. How many times have you seen conversations derailed by unnecessary comments, off-topic tangents, or even subtle jabs? The Stoics would challenge us to cut through the noise and focus on what truly matters. Before speaking, consider, does this contribute to the discussion? Is it aligned with the goals of the team? By practicing this kind of mindful communication, we not only make our own contributions more impactful, but also foster a culture of respect and collaboration. It's a small shift that can have a ripple effect, improving not just individual interactions but the overall dynamic of the workplace. One practical way to bring Stoic principles into your daily conversations is by practicing gratitude. This doesn't mean offering empty compliments or forced positivity. Instead, it's about genuinely acknowledging the value others bring to your life. For instance, instead of rushing through a conversation with a colleague, take a moment to express appreciation for their hard work or insights. In family settings, a simple thank you for something as small as a shared meal or a kind gesture can go a long way in building stronger, more meaningful relationships. Gratitude, when expressed sincerely, aligns perfectly with the Stoic ideal of speaking with purpose. It's a way of using words to uplift and connect, rather than to fill silence or assert dominance. The beauty of Stoic speech lies in its simplicity and practicality. It's not about grand gestures or dramatic changes. It's about the small, consistent choices we make every day. Whether you're navigating a difficult conversation with a loved one, contributing to a team discussion at work, or simply expressing gratitude, the Stoic approach offers a framework for speaking with clarity, kindness, and intention. By integrating these principles into your daily interactions, you not only honor the wisdom of the Stoics, but also create a life that's richer, more connected, and more aligned with your deepest values. So, the next time you find yourself in a conversation, take a moment to reflect: how can my words serve a purpose? This simple question can transform the way you communicate and, in turn, the way you live. When we choose to speak less and with greater intention, the benefits ripple far beyond the moment. Over time, adopting Stoic principles of purposeful speech can transform not just how we communicate, but how we connect with others and understand ourselves. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, and the quality of your thoughts depends upon the discipline of your speech." This insight captures the profound connection between the words we choose and the life we create. By speaking less, we create space for deeper relationships, ones built on trust, respect, and genuine understanding. When our words are thoughtful and deliberate, they carry more weight, fostering connections that are meaningful rather than superficial. But the rewards of speaking less extend beyond our relationships. It's also a powerful tool for self-awareness. Every time we pause before speaking, we're given an opportunity to reflect: why am I about to say this? What do I hope to achieve? These moments of reflection help us better understand our motivations, our emotions, and even our values. Over time, this practice can lead to greater clarity about who we are and what truly matters to us. It's a form of self-discovery that comes not from grand gestures, but from the small, consistent choices we make in our everyday conversations. Perhaps one of the most profound benefits of speaking less is the sense of inner peace it cultivates. When we're not constantly filling the air with noise, we create room for stillness, a space where we can reconnect with ourselves and our surroundings. This stillness isn't just about external quiet, it's about an internal calm that comes from knowing we've spoken with purpose and integrity. It's a reminder that we don't need to have an opinion on everything or to be heard in every conversation to feel fulfilled. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is simply listen, reflect, and choose silence. So, what changes could you make to speak with more purpose? Start by noticing the moments when you feel the urge to fill silence or assert your point of view. Ask yourself, is this necessary? Is it true? Is it kind? These simple questions can serve as a guide, helping you align your speech with your values and intentions. Over time, these small shifts can lead to profound changes, not just in how you communicate, but in how you live. By embracing the Stoic art of speaking less, you create a life that's richer, more connected, and more aligned with the peace and clarity you seek. As we come to the end of this exploration, let's take a moment to revisit the core Stoic principles that can transform the way we communicate. The Stoics taught us that speech isn't just about filling silence or asserting dominance. It's a tool for virtue, a way to align our words with reason and purpose. From Marcus Aurelius' reflections on the brevity of life to Seneca's warnings against idle chatter, the message is clear: every word we speak should serve a higher goal. By speaking less, we create space for clarity, connection, and inner peace. By speaking with intention, we ensure that our words reflect our values and contribute meaningfully to the world around us. Epictetus, the philosopher who turned adversity into wisdom, left us with a powerful reminder. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. This simple yet profound insight captures the essence of Stoic communication. It's not about silencing ourselves, but about choosing our words carefully, ensuring they align with reason, kindness, and truth. When we embrace this approach, we not only improve our relationships, but also cultivate a deeper sense of self-awareness and purpose. So, what's the next step? Take a moment to reflect on your own communication habits. How often do you speak simply to fill the silence? How often do your words align with your values and intentions? The Stoic art of purposeful speech isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about making small, consistent choices that bring greater clarity and connection to your life. Start by pausing before you speak, asking yourself, is this necessary? Is it true? Is it kind? These simple questions can serve as a guide, helping you navigate conversations with greater intention and integrity. As you move forward, remember that the power of your words extends far beyond the moment they're spoken. They shape your relationships, your sense of self, and the world around you. By embracing the Stoic principles of speaking less and with purpose, you not only honor the wisdom of the ancients, but also create a life that's richer, more connected, and more aligned with your deepest values. So take this wisdom with you and let it guide your words and your actions every day. The art of saying less isn't just about speaking, it's about living with intention, one thoughtful word